Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Booktube Chicks Book Club. My name is Chloe. You're on my channel. And tonight we are discussing Natalie Tan's book of Luck and Fortune by Roselle Lim. As usual, I am here with my amazing co host, Kathleen, who's going to introduce herself in just a moment. But if you've never been to one of our live shows before, the way that it works is for the first couple of minutes, we are going to do a spoiler free discussion where we just mostly talk about our initial thoughts with the book and our rating. And then we're going to go into spoilers for the next 20 to 30 minutes. So, Kat, if you want to go ahead and start.
Sure. Hi, I'm Kathleen. My channel's for the love of books. Um, for this book, it was good. There was moments that I really enjoyed it. I liked um, learning about the different like foods. There was lots of different recipes, and that's fun for those of you who love to cook. Um, and it was fun getting to know her family and the different culture. For me personally, I just didn't really connect with the book. I think it's forgettable. So I did give this book 3.5 stars.
And my name is Chloe. You're on my channel. This is my first Roselle Lim book. I think around the time it came out, this one was fairly popular on at least the book channels that I was watching. So it's been on my radar for a little bit, but overall, I have a lot of the same thoughts that Kat does. I gave it 3.5 stars. I do agree that it is a very forgettable book, and it also has a lot more to do with grief, because I really didn't know what it was about going into it. Um, but overall, while I enjoyed it while reading it, I agree. It's a very forgettable reading experience, and I was actually struggling with coming up with some talking points for tonight because I mean I've only read like two books after this one, but I've already forgotten a lot of it. Um, so I guess we're just gonna go straight into spoilers. Um, so our main character is grieving the loss of her mom, who died suddenly, and I'm trying to figure out how to word this correctly here. I don't know. I wasn't expecting such like a hard hitting book, while also tying just those everyday like trying to build her community back up elements. You're muted.
Yeah, I feel like the cover didn't really give away that it was going to focus on a heavy subject. Her mom died, and she hasn't seen her mom in a long time, and I believe she hasn't been to where her family came from in a long time. I believe she's in California. I don't quite remember, but um, yeah, I feel like the book gave you more like contemporary, maybe some romance thrown in there, vibes. And then we get into the book and she's like grieving. She just found out her mom died and she hasn't seen her in a really long time. So she's trying to deal with that. And then she inherits a restaurant and she's trying to see if she's going to keep it or not. So yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah, and I mean there is a very very small romance. It is not a big part of the plot or anything. It's like a sub plot.
Yeah.
Um, so something that I was thinking about, and I wanted to ask you: would you consider this book magical realism?
I think it I don't think it's heavy on that, but I do think it does touch on the elements of what magical realism could be. But so yes, sort of.
And I don't want to go too heavily into it because I don't know if it's a cultural thing, which I can't remember what her background is. Um, but th- there's a lot of like the food helping and aiding different people, as well as I guess we're just going to get into the plot about her dad. Like he was basically a ghost the whole
Yeah,
time.
yeah. And her trying to figure out who he is. I guess never knew her dad either, who he was.
And she's basically just interacting with somebody who we thought was a real person the whole time, but then it turns out he's just a ghost, essentially a ghost.
Yeah.
Or a spirit. And we do find out that her dad didn't leave them. He died. So I guess
right. When I got to that part, I was like, "Oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that." I thought that was a nice, well, not nice, but it was a surprise.
Yeah.
It was definitely a surprise.
But you know what it actually reminds me of? Uh Coco. Have you seen
Oh,
Coco?
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he left and he never came back because he died. Um so excuse me. That also kind of explains her mom has agoraphobia and she doesn't like to leave the house, or she's afraid of leaving the house. And that explains why it got so severe before she even had her baby. At least I'm pretty sure she hadn't had the baby at that point. And now we know why, because she was already worried about going outside and about safety, and then when he went outside and he died, she was like, no, it's safer inside.
Yeah.
And then hold on, I just had it. I need to look back on why she went outside, because when her mom died, she was found on the sidewalk outside and nobody knew why. And I need to look back because I feel like she was
I don't
having,
remember that. Okay.
well, what I remember is the spirit of her dad had said that her mom was looking out the window and she actually saw him, and she got so happy that she ran out to see him. But what I think happened, and I'm trying to find it again so I can actually confirm this, is I think that her mom may have been having some kind of medical episode inside and that had her seeing him. Does that
Okay.
make sense?
Yeah.
Or he showed himself to her. So she ran outside and then she died on the sidewalk. I think she had some kind of medical episode.
I mean, that would make sense because I feel like a lot of people say that they see things when they're like on the brink of death. So
Yeah.
I that could make that does make a little bit of sense. Yeah.
Still trying to find it here. Okay, let's see. Okay, I stood across the street so she could see me from the windows. I waited for her. I waved to her, and for the first time since I left, she saw me. She stayed. Yeah, I think she had some kind of medical episode. It's not explicitly stated, but I think it's one of those, like, you can kind of just infer on it.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of other books by this author, I think 2, and I think they're set in the same world. One is called Vanessa Yu's Magical Paris Tea Shop, and the other one it's about a book club, I think. I can't remember. Do you think you would read more from this author / set in this world?
Do they also have like heavy hitting topics,
I don't
themes?
know, because the cover of at least one of them, the cover looks happier. Like, I'm gonna find it.
I would read it. Mostly because while I was reading this book, I did enjoy it, and I thought it was there were some parts I really liked, especially like all the recipes and everything. Everything sounded so good. Um, but yeah, I would definitely read. Oh yeah, that's definitely very happy.
And then so that's the tea shop one. And then there's this one has ducks all over it.
You see, like the covers are also
Pretty.
cute. Yes,
Yeah.
cute and pretty. And like they don't really give away the fact that this book was sad.
This one, the synopsis, the first line says, "A new heartfelt novel about the power of loneliness and the strength of love."
Yeah, see that sounds like a heavy subject.
Let me see the T-shirt one. This one says it's a heartwarming and delightful story about writing one's own destiny and finding love along the way.
Okay, that doesn't sound too
All
bad.
right. I think I would read the other ones. And they're not explicitly marked as like a series or a companion series. I kind of just inferred from some of the things that we picked up in this book. But I think it would be a read it from the library kind of scenario.
Yeah.
Um, this
Did you
one
buy this book?
I got it from a used bookstore a couple of years ago, I think.
Okay.
So I've had it on my shelf. Um, I mean, and it's blurbed by Helen Huang, who does write romance. So I'm wondering maybe if her other books have a little bit more romantic elements in them. Um, but yeah, this book made me hungry. I think I texted you that.
Like you did. And
Yeah.
I was like, I have no idea what you're talking about. And then I started reading it, and I was like, all these great recipes.
Yeah.
And then,
Um, I did think that this book was fairly quick to get through. I finished it over like 2 or 3 days. Um, I did
I,
find myself when it was the recipes, I would like skip through the recipes.
I agree. I don't know if you listened. Did you listen to the audiobook, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like the narrator, she read slower than normal, I feel like. So I was reading it at like 2 speed, and usually I read it anywhere between 1.5 and 1.75. But I feel like she reads slower than other narrators. So I was reading at 2 speed, and I got through it really fast.
Yeah, the pauses between some of the sentences were so extended, and I was listening at 1.75 probably. That tends to be what I listen at. And just the pause length even at that speed was just so long. And when I had first started it, I think I was headed on a longer drive, so I had a little bit of like a stretch of time. And I started it, and I was like, "Is there something wrong with the audiobook? Like why is it pausing?"
Uh,
So, is there any specific scenes you want to talk about or that you enjoyed? I'm
I
having
wanted to get your opinion on like the romance. It was I feel like it was very short, though it wasn't the primary, like it wasn't a big plot point of the book.
yeah.
And then at the end, she went to meet him, and he was like, I just need time. And then they didn't talk to each other for like months until she opened her restaurant. And then he kind of came by to say hi, sort of thing. What do you think? Since you're the big romance reader, what did you think about the whole romance part of the book?
I thought it was fine, but I recognize that it's not really the point of the book.
Mhm.
So I honestly wasn't expecting any kind of romance in it. I think as a very small subplot, it was done well. Um, but because it wasn't like a big focal point, it's not something that was like delved into a lot. Um,
I wish
so
there was more of a happier ending as far as, I mean, I get it. He came by later to check on her because her restaurant opened. But I felt like it left a little bit on a cliffhanger, sort of ish.
mhm.
There was no like, oh my God, I'm so happy to see you kind of thing. You know what I mean? I was expecting
Yeah.
more of a bigger reunion since they hadn't talked to each other in months.
Yeah, especially since they saved that for like the last chapter as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I like that their relationship kind of started. Well, their meeting was just he stumbled into her unopened restaurant just
Mm-hmm.
because he could smell the dumplings, and I
Mm-hmm.
like that she just started feeding him, even though like they weren't even open, but she recognized that like he needed a good meal. Um, but I mean, for a plot point that was on the back burner, I think purposefully, I liked it. And I like when she showed up to his company with like pretending to be a delivery person.
Yeah. Yeah. I liked it. I just wish that there was a happier ending for the two. Even though it's supposed to be again a small plot point in the story and it's not the main focus. But yeah, I just kind of, although she did get a happy ending. She opened her restaurant. Um, she kind of made up with all of the neighboring people. Kind of honored her mother's memory in a way. So
Yeah, and when we weren't even like halfway through, I think we were maybe like 40% of the way through the book, and she had fed the three people that she needed to for the prophecy. I was like, we're only 40% of the way through. Like there's so much more left. Um, and now it makes a lot of sense about it backfiring. And I I liked the so so in her family recipe book they have the ripped out pages, and I like that kind of symbolized how she needed to bridge the gap with herself and her family, and she filled it with her own recipes. I like that was kind of like what had to solve the prophecy,
yeah. Yeah.
which again
And
this makes it sound like magical realism.
yeah, I do like the touches of magical realism that the author threw in. I don't think this book you can say that it is not magical realism as a whole, but there are touches of it, and I really like that.
Yeah, and I'm actually curious with the other two books if they also have the touches of magical realism. I definitely think the one about the tea shop does, but the other one I'm not so sure.
Are you gonna read the other books?
I think so, but I don't think they're gonna be like a priority.
Wait, I
Um,
think you said that you're just gonna try to get them from the library, right?
yeah, so they'll kind of go on my like want to read, but they won't be a huge priority. Um, since I want to prioritize things that I own.
Are these the only three books by this author?
No, she had a new book come out this year, I think, or a couple of months ago. And I don't remember who the publisher is, but they had emailed me with like a read now copy from
Okay.
NetGalley, but it was the time frame was just not going to work out for me, so I haven't actually read it yet. I want to say it's more of a fantasy, um,
Okay.
with maybe a I'm going to use the term romantasy very lightly in this scenario, but I think that's what it might be. The cover is really pretty. So hopefully I'll be able to read that soon.
Okay.
Soon, as in 5 to 10 business years, as with everything. Did you
Yeah.
have anything else you wanted to talk about with this book?
Uh, I think we covered all the major points that I remembered that I wanted to mention.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
I'm always happy if we can like get 20 minutes out of a book club, especially with a book that we're both just about.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I guess we can go ahead and kind of do our like wrap up final thoughts on the book. Um, Overall, it's just it was an enjoyable read while I was reading it, but very forgetful in my opinion. Following a lot of grief with touches of magical realism and a lot of family, and I would also say found family as well, because the whole neighborhood was kind of coming together to help her after her mother's passing. Um, and overall, I gave it 3.5 stars. Um, it wasn't quite a 4-star level of enjoyment for me, but it was there.
Yeah, I agree. I had a good reading experience, and I think I will pick up the other books by this author if I decide I just feel like reading it. Because I did enjoy the writing and some of the aspects that the author put in, like the magical realism. I really really enjoyed the recipe thrown into the book, and like she even goes over she cooks. She just doesn't list the ingredients. She goes over like how to make each food, and it all sounds very very good. And it again it despite the cover, the book does touch heavier subjects, a fam the death of a family member, But it also does have really nice moments, like discovering this whole new side of who you are, and discovering new family, as you said, found family. Um, so I did really enjoy some parts. Again, I just think it was forgettable. I think I finished. I want to say I finished this book on Wednesday or Thursday, and I already, to be honest, forgot most of the smaller plot points of the book, and I only the bigger plots have stuck to me. So it is a forgettable book to me. So I did give the same rating. I gave it 3.5 stars.
And talking about going into April, the book that we're going to be reading for April is something that I'm sure everybody is excited to read if they haven't already picked it up, and it is Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins, the latest installment in the world of the Hunger Games. This time we are following Haymitch during the 50th Hunger Games, or the second quarter quell. I have already started this one because I'm buddy reading it with some other people as well, and I'm very excited to discuss this one. I think I'm about 40% of the way through, so this is going to be a really fun book club, I think. And I also just reread the trilogy and ballad as well. So we're going to be discussing this book on Sunday, April 27th at 7 p.m. on this channel, Eastern Standard Time. So I'm very excited to discuss this with you. And then for the Quarterly Romance Book Club, which is back for quarter 2 of 2025, which, if you're not familiar with Quarterly Romance, I co-host that along with Desiree from Libri Labra over on her channel. We're going to be reading How to End a Love Story by Yulin Kwong. And we are going to be discussing this one on Sunday, May 4th at 6 p.m. Eastern on her channel. So make sure to follow us on Instagram at Booktube Chicks for all information regarding Booktube Chicks live shows and things that we're doing. And then, Kat, remind me what day we are doing Pages and Pals next. Is it the 5th?
Yeah, it's Saturday at 9 p.m. This Saturday.
Saturday. Oh, it's this Saturday already.
Yeah,
Jeez.
it's this upcoming
Oh,
Saturday.
God. This Saturday, April 5th at 9 p.m. Eastern over on Kat's channel, which is linked in the description below. Pages and Pals is just an hour of silent reading time with friends. Bring whatever you're currently reading. Come hang out with us and get some reading time done. So thank you for watching, and we hope to see you guys at any of the upcoming Booktube Chicks events. Bye!